I'm Lon Shaver, president with Silvercorp Metals. We're here at Colorado Springs, the Denver Gold Forum, to meet up with shareholders. We recently announced in August a transaction which we think will be transformational for Silvercorp. We announced a deal to acquire Orecorp, and I'm joined by the managing director of Orecorp, an ASX-listed company with a very promising project in Tanzania. And that's the reason we're here today, chatting with you, Matt.
Matt, good to see you, Lon. And we've not met before. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Diederichs. I'm the CEO and Managing Director for Orecorp, and we've got a very exciting development-ready project in Tanzania.
Right, okay, guys. Well, look, we're here at the conference. I guess you gave us some clues. You're here to speak to shareholders, institutional guys and gals, and help them understand, I guess, the nature of this merger of yours. How are you phrasing? Is it an acquisition?
It's an acquisition.
Acquisition, okay. Here, and what it's going to do for you, and what's the response been?
Well, I think the response has been positive. For people that have been following the Silvercorp story, they've known that we've been looking to grow. And we've been messaging that we've been looking to grow in a few jurisdictions, Africa being one of them. And we've looked at the Orecorp project and determined that it checks the boxes.
Yeah.
And so that's what's motivated to move ahead with this acquisition.
Okay.
The important thing, you mentioned whether merger or acquisition, there is a share component to the deal. And so as we're out marketing the deal to shareholders, ours, but also theirs, it's an invitation to participate in the company going forward as we look to build a growing precious metals company.
Right, give us that share register. And now, what does that look like in terms of institutional, retail, and other?
Well, maybe I'll let Hank speak to that because he's obviously more familiar with it. But
yeah, so in regards to the Orecorp share register, we've got a very well-established share register, good ownership by the board and management itself, and then several high net worth individuals within Australia, very well-respected mining professionals. And that really provides a lot of credibility to the project itself as well, and then several large institutions globally.
Okay, and what about the combined register? What will that? What does that look? What I'm trying to work out is, what is the type of company you're trying to be? We've spoken twice annually, last October and pretty much the same time the previous year, and you say, we're not going to rush into this, but we do need to kind of change the profile of our business because it's the China focus. Some people don't get. It's single. Well, no, you've got a little bit of gold in there, but silver main driver. Combined, I get it. Gold is silver, but it's still precious metal in a very tough market for the last 3 years. But you're looking to the future. So what does that profile look like, and and how do you project that in terms of these institutional conversations across the road?
Well, from a shareholder standpoint, what we're doing is offering a combination of cash and shares, and as part of this deal, we're going to get an ASX listing to facilitate the existing Orecorp shareholders to participate going forward. As well, with that ASX listing, we think there's Australian institutions which will find Silvercorp to be an attractive vehicle to participate in the silver market. There's not a lot of silver vehicles. So when we look, though, going forward, Orecorp shareholders will represent roughly 18% of our shares outstanding after the deal is closed. So that'll include the mix of the retail and high net worth individuals that Hank mentioned, as well as the funds. And then what we're looking to do is get out and present both funds there, here, Europe, the fact that Silvercorp now is going to be a very different looking company with a significant resource base also in Tanzania now.
Right, yeah, okay. Obviously, good place to do business, Tanzania, I think, huh?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for Silvercorp to geographically also diversify, but importantly, to get involved in a high-quality asset that's now permitted. We've done a lot of study work on the project. It offers a long life, high margin, and very robust project. So excellent addition to the Silvercorp portfolio.
And let's talk about that profile, right? Because it'd be so easy to kind of go and pick up something highly distressed, cash or otherwise distressed asset at the moment, which may be a little bit earlier in the stage. So, how you spend your money. What was the profile? Why did these guys meet that profile for you?
Well, I think first off, from a technical standpoint, need to like the project. As you indicated, we could like other projects that are earlier stage and think that the technical parameters speak to building a promising and profitable mine. But our mandate isn't to buy things and to spend time permitting it. We really want to build mines. Yeah. And so the second box that needed to get checked was, is this actionable? And Nyanzaga, the project in Tanzania, is permitted, so ready to go. And in fact, on the signing of our deal, we did a placement into Orecorp of approximately 28 million Australian, and that was money intended to start really unlocking the value and starting those early lead items from a construction standpoint. Right now, it's focused on the community relocation program. So there's a community, there's a deal in place that's been all sanctioned and approved to move the population to new place so that we can open up the site, and then we would segue into the early site prep. So this isn't a case of buying something and putting it on the shelf and watching it for months or years while you negotiate these terms or get the permits. Yeah. This is actionable right away, and then that was a key element.
Right, and in terms of you've got about 170 million bucks left, right? So still very healthy. What's it going to take to get this project into production?
Well, the numbers that have been published to date were based on a feasibility study that Orecorp did in 2022, and that called for a $474 million US in capex. When we look through the items, there's nothing that we see as sort of fundamentally, wrong or different in what they've laid out. Yeah. But from a sequencing and a staging standpoint, we think there's an opportunity to delay some items and defer some capital until later in the mine life and pay for it from cash flow. So we think we can trim that number down. Right. And so between a smaller number, the cash we have on hand, and pursuing a range of financing options, we think we can tackle this without shareholder dilution.
Right. So basically, you're good for equity. So the debt is the part of the conversation, and you'd expect that to come. Well, I guess it's combined board now, or so will be a combined board. I mean, who makes the decisions? Who's looking after the finances and the numbers? Because the access to North American markets, ASX market will be there. It's much enhanced market fee. The cash is tight at the moment, but if you can deliver the equity, maybe it's a bit of an easier conversation and maybe cheaper capital for you as well.
Yeah, well, I think the element of dropping the number in terms of what we have to raise, the fact that we've already started chipping away at that capex from the spending. We do have ongoing cash flow, so it's not as though we need to tie everything up right away to keep the project moving forward. We do have the cash on the balance sheet. And then Orecorp had begun a process of looking at the traditional project finance markets. We'll take that on as well. And in addition to that, there's other groups that we've been in contact with over the years that have expressed a desire to invest in one of our projects. And so we'll open that audience up as well to see how we put together the package. Right. It may look like a traditional project finance package, or it may have some different players and some different participants.
Okay. And again, coming back to this, what picture are you trying to paint for the institutional guys and gals? Because I get the market's tough for precious metals, right? But you're going to have to try and make some moves which will drive the stock. This acquisition hasn't done that because there's a tight market, okay? So what do you think you need to do other than wait to be able to kind of get people excited and understand what it is that you're trying to be?
Well, no, as I think we move forward and are demonstrating that we're de-risking and moving this project towards production, which is anticipated, not 5 years from now, but in the second half of 2025, as we demonstrate those, de-risking milestones, and moving, if you want to do it from a numbers standpoint, earning a higher multiple to the project NPV as we get closer to delivering on that. I think that value creation will be obvious within Silvercorp. Right. And I think that that will attract new mining investors who play in these types of opportunities who haven't been shareholders of Silvercorp before.
Right. So today it's been a kind of cautious, considered, conservative approach. Love it. This acquisition is a good first step. It shows intent, it shows ambition, and maybe that sometimes it's part of a growth story. That's what shareholders, institutional and retail like to see. Will this be a kind of bedding in process? Let's get this thing right and then go again? Or do you feel you've kind of got enough on your plate?
No, I think it all comes down to sequencing and timing. And so certainly you don't necessarily want to be doing too much of the exact same activities at the same time. But when you have different teams doing different things, I think you can sequence things out. And so we would view building a platform to execute and build this project would allow us to look at and consider the next steps. And our game plan, as we've spoken about before, isn't just to sort of do one deal and say we're done, but look at what are the series of growth opportunities that we can add, sequence them in, and shareholders can see that, in a 3 to 5 year time frame, Silvercorp is going to be a dramatically different company.
Right. And obviously, most CEOs would say the best way to kind of grow is organically. It's the cheapest way to grow. But in a market like this, has your thinking adapted and changed in terms of that?
Well, I think it's a dual track process because we are growing organically.
Right.
But then when we look at other opportunities in this marketplace, it's a difficult funding environment. And so good projects are struggling in the equity markets to get the valuations because I think the perception is it's going to be hard for these companies to fund these projects. So now by planting this project into a company that's got a better access to funding, I think that the project, the look-through valuation that it earns in the marketplace will be enhanced.
Right, okay. Producer, near-term producer, very attractive, de-risked investing, but it seems to have the same sort of, I mean, your share price depressed. Is that the opportunity here? Is that the opportunity in the sense that usually if people want to kind of, high leverage type returns, they go to the explorers. Are you kind of the new explorer in that sense?
Well, I think, you pointed it out, share price depressed. I think we are tracking the market reasonably well. But I do think we trade at a compressed valuation. So anything we do is going to be more expensive. Buying a development asset where we can get the re-rate on those milestones is the best way that we can generate value and then hopefully get to a higher valuation so that subsequent things that we do will be less costly.
Right. And if I may, I'll come to you saying, Hank, in China with the 3 projects, you're allocating how much in terms for exploration? Because you're not looking to sort of slow down there any. If anything, you got to grow. So what's happening in the country?
The best way of thinking about that is we've been on a path and we've been doing the work we've been doing pretty consistently for years, and all of that work has been, I'm not going to say hidden from a negative standpoint, but it's been buried within our financials, and it hasn't hampered our earnings or our cash flow generation because of what we're able to do. So we're going to continue along that path. In the near term here and at Ying, we've got 2 capital programs. One is the 3rd tailings facility, which is needed to ensure what we see as a very long life at Ying. So that's in progress right now. And then we would segue into the 3rd mill, which will allow Ying really to expand its throughput and become a more efficient from a milling standpoint, and potentially expand our product mix because we are seeing some different opportunities in the discoveries we're making at Ying, and our current milling facilities wouldn't accommodate that. So those are the internal organic growth plans that will be funded out of cash flow, and that's why we built this cash position so that we can look at expansion outside through acquisition.
Right, okay. So business as usual, quite frankly, in country.
Really, yes, it is.
Okay. Hank, what does this guy bring you other than money? But what else is this coming together do for you?
Well, I think that's really the key, is just the ability to take the project on the next leg of the journey. They do have a lot stronger balance sheet. So we've done a good job to date. We've really defined the project well. We've demonstrated the potential. But ultimately, we were faced with this funding hurdle. As a single asset developer in the current market, that's a challenging space to be in. And these things are never done until they are. So that's really the big unlock for the project, is bringing in a entity with a much larger balance sheet to fund it. And perhaps just coming back to your earlier comment with regards to market response, I feel there are several catalysts still that needs to be triggered. In terms of the market response, first being the completion of the transaction, and then probably to inform the market of what Silvercorp's development concept look like, and then ultimately to demonstrate the funding and then commencement of development. And I think those will be critical in the months to come.
Right. Not bad. You happy?
Yeah, it's great. It's been since our foray into that Guyana transaction, where we thought we had the asset that was going to be a bit of a transformational event for the company. It's been a long haul, lots of work from that evaluation, negotiation standpoint. Looked at a lot of things. Either they didn't work, or they were too far away from realization, or the terms couldn't get to appropriate terms with the other party. We're pleased that we were able to get this deal off and running. And I think, the feedback, I think our shareholders understand what it means in terms of a transaction. I think the Orecorp shareholders understand what it means, and an ability to participate still in that project. Their shareholder base are truly fans of the project, and rightly so. And I think now there's the ability to together see that project be realized.
A lot of frogs out there. A lot of frogs. Well, you got it over the line, so congrats.
All right.
About getting it over the line. Ain't done till it's done, boys.
That's right. There's still some work here to the end of the year.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming out, updating us on this story. I'd love to see that when it kind of finally concludes. And I say, people should look at you in an entirely different way as a result. So congrats.
Great. Thank you.